Autumn 2023. The ground beneath Naples is rising. Not a tremor, not a shake. A slow, measurable lift, over 1.2 meters, surpassing levels not seen since before the 1538 eruption of Monte Nuovo. 3 million people live directly above this caldera. Italy has finally updated its evacuation orders, and the models they have been quietly running tell a story the official statements barely touch. The ground keeps rising. Not a jolt, not a landslide, just a relentless, silent push upward. By late 2023, the GPS station at Rione Terra had recorded more than 1.2 meters of uplift since 2005. That is higher than the warning line set by the last eruption in 1538. The city above, Pozzuoli, the western edge of Naples, and the sprawl of suburbs, now sits perched on this restless platform. 3 million people live inside the caldera's shadow. Streets, schools, markets, and hospitals are built on a surface that is flexing, centimeter by centimeter. This is not ordinary subsidence or the slow settling of old buildings. The movement is measured, mapped, and confirmed by a web of 80 continuous GPS stations and dense seismic arrays. The INGV, Italy's National Geophysical Institute, releases weekly bulletins. Each report plots the upward curve. Each map shades the zones of highest risk. The numbers do not lie. The ground is moving faster than at any point since detailed records began. Rione Terra, the historic core, stands as the benchmark. Its stones are now more than a meter higher than a generation ago. Civil protection authorities are not guessing. The evacuation orders issued in 2024 are not just bureaucratic exercises. They are direct responses to these hard numbers. The new plans are built for a city of millions, not a handful of villages. Buses are pre-positioned. Shelters are mapped. Emergency kits, including water, food, masks, and documents, are prepared by law, not by choice. This does not mean an eruption is imminent, but it does mean the system is straining in ways that make officials uneasy. The scale is staggering. The science is clear. The uncertainty is real. Beneath the bustle of Naples and the sprawl of Pozzuoli, the land rests on the fractured shell of a caldera, 13 kilometers wide, stretching from city streets to the edge of the Tyrrhenian Sea. This is no ordinary volcano. Campi Flegrei is a collapsed giant, the result of eruptions so immense they rewrote the landscape and, for a moment, the fate of life in Europe. Geophysical surveys trace the buried outline, a basin more than a kilometer deep, its floor layered with ash and tuff, its rim broken and submerged. The caldera's heart holds a resurgent dome, a mound of uplifted rock pressed upward by forces below. But the true scale lies in what happened nearly 39,000 years ago. The Campanian ignimbrite eruption. Scientists estimate it expelled close to 300 cubic kilometers of magma. Ash, pumice, and gas shot skyward, then swept outward in pyroclastic flows that buried the landscape for tens of kilometers. The eruption's footprint reached across southern Italy, dusting the Mediterranean, staining ice cores as far as Russia. For comparison, Mount St. Helens in 1980 released less than 1 cubic kilometer. The difference is not just in size, but in consequence. In the aftermath, the climate cooled. Tree rings and ice layers record a drop in global temperatures of 0.5 degree or more. Archaeological sites show a sharp decline in Neanderthal remains across Europe during this time. Some researchers see a link, a volcanic winter that pushed an already pressured population to the edge. Others caution, the eruption alone did not erase the Neanderthals, but it deepened the crisis. Today, the same basin that unleashed that ancient cataclysm is crowded with cities, roads, and 3 million lives. The caldera's geometry is not a relic. It is the stage for every new pulse of unrest, every slow-motion breath of the earth. The forces that shaped deep time remain at work, just beneath the surface, in a landscape that remembers what it once unleashed. Braidicism. The word comes from Greek for slow shaking, but what it describes is not a quake, not a landslide, not a sudden disaster. It is the slow-motion breathing of the earth, a cycle of inflation and deflation that plays out beneath the feet of millions. In the Campi Flegrei caldera, this cycle is not theory. It is a measurable fact, tracked in centimeters and days, logged by GPS and satellites, and felt in the uneasy rhythm of daily life. Since 2005, the ground has been rising. At first, the uplift crept at a few millimeters per month. Then, after 2012, the pace quickened. By late 2023, the Rione Terra GPS station showed more than 1.2 meters of cumulative uplift. That is not just a number, it is a physical shift, enough to alter coastlines, crack roads, and warp building foundations. The city is moving, pressed upward by forces below. Bradicism is not a single event, but a process. It happens when hot fluids and gases, released from deep magma, force their way into the fractured rock above. The rock acts like a lid, flexing and straining under the pressure. Sometimes, after months or years, the pressure eases and the ground subsides. Other times, the cycle accelerates, as it did in the months leading to September 2023. That month, a magnitude 4.2 earthquake rattled the area, the strongest in decades. More than 150 smaller tremors followed in just 2 days. Scientists tracked the uplift, the seismic swarms, and the swelling gas emissions. Each data point added to the growing evidence. The system beneath Campi Flegrei is not sleeping. It is restless. And as the Brady seismic cycles continue, the mechanical stress inside the caldera's crust builds, pushing the lid closer to its breaking point. This does not mean an eruption is imminent, but it does mean that the Earth here is in motion, and the signals are getting harder to ignore. Pressure builds in silence. Deep beneath Pozzuoli and Naples, the crust that holds back the caldera is changing, not just flexing, but weakening, grain by grain. The Kilburn Group, working with GPS, seismic and laboratory data, mapped how repeated cycles of uplift and chemical attack have left the shallow rock more brittle than ever before. They call this process progressive failure. The caprock, once a sturdy lid, is now laced with fractures, tiny cracks that link up and form a network that can suddenly give way. Finite element simulations reveal a tipping point. When fracture density reaches a critical value, about 0.35 fractures per cubic kilometer, a cascade can begin. The rock does not fail in slow motion. It snaps. Hydrothermal fluids, superheated by the magma below, surge through these new pathways. If the pressure rises fast enough, the system can breach in hours, not days. This is not the classic image of lava slowly rising. It is a flash event, a phreatic eruption, a violent steam blast that shreds rock and throws ash skyward with little warning. The key metric is no longer just how much the ground rises, but how fractured the crust has become. Scientists now track this fracture density as a real-time risk indicator. The science does not guarantee an eruption. It shows how the caldera could move from quiet unrest to explosive change in a single afternoon. The models make one thing clear. The gap between a restless Earth and a city's response time is now measured in hours. Yellow. That is the official status. Not red, not orange, yellow. The meaning is precise. Elevated unrest, but not yet a crisis. Civil protection officials do not wait for rumors or intuition. They rely on numbers, hard thresholds written into law. The alert ladder is clear. Green means background activity. Yellow means heightened vigilance. Orange means pre-evacuation. Red means get out. The decision is not made by a single signal. It is made by convergence. Uplift, seismicity, gas flux, each tracked by a dense grid of sensors. 35 seismic stations ring the caldera, tuned to the smallest tremor. 80 GPS receivers, known as GNSS stations, record every millimeter of ground movement. Satellites Sentinel-1 with a 6-day revisit scan the surface, mapping deformation invisible to the naked eye. Each network feeds a real-time dashboard. Each spike in activity is logged, compared, and weighed against the thresholds. Only when all three, uplift, quakes, gas rise together does the system move to orange, That is the rule, precursor convergence. Since 2012, the needle has stayed at yellow. The ground has shifted. The sensors have pulsed with warning, but the numbers have not crossed the line. Officials rehearse the protocols, shelters, buses, evacuation kits, waiting for the day when the data align. Until then, science dictates action, and the city waits, suspended between vigilance and uncertainty. Antonio Rossi keeps his emergency kit by the front door. Water, canned food, a flashlight, masks, copies of family documents, all packed for 48 hours away from home. Laura, his daughter, checks the phone app for new alerts every morning. Marco, her son, knows the evacuation route by heart, tracing the map from their apartment in Pozzuoli to the nearest bus corridor. The plan says be ready to leave on 2 hours' notice. Not a drill, not a rumor, a legal requirement. The scale is hard to grasp. 500,000 people live in the red zone. 12,000 shelter beds scattered in schools and arenas can hold only a fraction of those fleeing. Buses line up along the A3 highway, set to move families out in waves. The shelters are stocked for 2 days. After that, uncertainty. The cost of a week's relocation, lost wages, rent, food, lands hardest on families already stretched thin. For the Rossis, the memory of displacement in the 1980s lingers. Trust in official warnings is fragile, worn down by decades of false alarms and economic strain. The science is precise. The logistics are not. Each family faces the same question: how do you prepare for a disaster that might never come, but could arrive with almost no warning? The answer, for now, is a kit by the door, a route out of the city, and a silent calculation of what to take and what to leave behind. The ground keeps rising. The lid thins. 3 million lives sit above a system older than our species. This does not mean an eruption is imminent. The models show how fast the threshold can shift. If you lived in Naples, would you stay? Yellowstone is next. Thanks for watching.